Hello, good morning. I'm not just sitting here not saying anything. I'm trying to go. There we go. We're live on Instagram as well. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. I did promise another little live this morning and some more authors for you to meet and speak to. It's really exciting. Today, I'm completely frazzled. I'm going to say completely frazzled. Because I was up till after 10 last night signing off the final manuscripts and everything's up on KDP now. So I can breathe a bit and set off for Bolton soon for Social Impact Live. Anyhow, for those of you that don't know me, because I'm on Instagram as well, I'm Mandy Nicholson and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. Usually more colourful than this, but my banner's packed for Social Impact Live. And I am a artist and an author and a creative retreat owner here in Scotland, and I help creative women like these wonderful ladies to launch, grow and scale their businesses and make more money. But we're here today to talk about an absolutely amazing book that happened to appear this year from something that I'd written 3 years ago. And two of these ladies have written chapters in this book, and it's absolutely if you haven't heard about it yet, where have you been? We have spammed the entire internet for the last week. So Beyond the Ordinary launches tomorrow at Social Impact Live. During my speech, we will be live and you can buy it on Kindle tomorrow and support us getting that #1 bestseller status. When we have that, it's going to open doors for these voices to be heard and amplified. And the purpose behind the book is exactly that. The voices of neurodivergent and creative women being heard for the first time for what it's actually like to be creative, neurodivergent, and to be a woman. So I'm going to jump over to these ladies because they're way more interesting than me. So Ina, introduce yourself. Tell everybody what you do in your colourful world.
In my colorful little fish tank, as they call it. So hi, I'm Ina, and I'm the BEO of Believer Business Support, and I connect and support mainly neurodivergent business owners with all things admin and finding the right people for their teams, for their businesses to, just like you, help them grow and scale and, be less overwhelmed, because running a business can be overwhelming, let's face it.
Overwhelming and lonely, and we really need that help, don't we? So,
yes.
You've got a fantastic business there. Andrea, introduce yourself. Tell everybody what you do.
Hi, so I'm Andrea. I'm the menopause artist, and like Ina, my world is very colourful, and I help women understand and navigate the menopause using the healing power of art.
And what a wonderful thing to do. More people need to know about this. It is just transformative. So you've written a chapter for the book. You've told your story. How does it feel to be a published author tomorrow? How are you feeling about that, Ina? Tell us about your journey.
It feels kind of surreal. I don't think it's sunk in yet. It probably will sink in once, I hold the book in my hands and I'm like, look, that's me. But it's been a journey, and like you said, you've written your chapter 3 years ago. I've probably written my chapter, or your book, I should say, my chapter probably about a year ago. I started writing it a year ago, and then kind of it frazzled out, and always wanted to write a book. But, as it is with being neurodivergent, running a business, there are only so many hours in the day. So yeah, it's been quite therapeutic to write it, because it is about, my journey so far, and, the kind of things that have been thrown at me over the last years, all through my life, really. But yeah, I think the last 6 years since COVID have been probably the roughest in my life, and but also the most transformative and the most amazing now. So if I look back to where I was 3 years ago, even 4 years ago, to where I'm now, it's mind blowing.
It is, and I think that's why we want to tell the stories, to help other women see that, wherever you are now, it can change. However you feel now, it can change. It's that, isn't it? So your story definitely tells, you know, we're not giving any spoilers here. You've got to buy the book. If you want to know the gritty details, you're going to have to buy the book. But honestly, it's inspiring when you read people's stories, and where, like you say, for a few years and look at you now in your colourful little haven, doing well in business. And that's what it's all about. And Andrea's story,
growing.
That's the main thing. Yeah. And Andrea's story is like different to yours. They're all very different. Andrea, talk about your journey and why you told your story.
So I'm like Ina. From a very young age, I've always known that I would write a book as well as help other people, but I've never known how to do that. And for me, actually writing my story was quite straightforward, and it was very cathartic. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and it's almost like the struggles that you've had, once they're recorded, yes, they're always going to be there because they're part of what makes you you. But they're almost parked, and you don't have to have those jangling around your head anymore. So I really enjoyed writing my story, and I'm looking forward to telling it tomorrow at Social Impact Live. And I know it's not the end of my writing career, but as Ina says, as a neurodivergent, I've got all these all these great ideas, but just making it happen. But I mean, I only discovered 2 years ago that I am neurodivergent. But it's been great to be part of this project. But regards celebrating it, that is a really difficult one for me. I find it really difficult to celebrate my achievements, because I don't know if that's part of my ADHD or if it's just the fact that I always feel I've got to do better, which is madness, I know, but it's just the way I am.
I think that's right for a lot of women, though, isn't it? Particularly creative women, because you're kind of trying to prove yourself all the time. And I'm a collector of qualifications and certificates, and a lifeline. Like, I call myself a lifelong learner. But maybe there's something in that of proving to the world that I'm as good as I think I am, because, there is that. And I think a lot of women go through that, and we don't talk about that. And this book brings a lot of that to the forefront, and actually celebrating. If we hit the #1 bestseller slot tomorrow, we will be celebrating in a big way, probably with some fizz tomorrow night. That's all I'm going to say about that, because Andrea is reading her story out at the VIP evening tomorrow night at Social Impact Live, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully it will inspire other women and prove that it's never too late to change path in life, because I'm 60 next year. We've got a lot in common, haven't we, Mandy? And like, it's interesting what Ina was saying about, her life's changed dramatically over the last 6 years, and she's had challenges over the last 6 years, because I can say exactly the same thing. But discovering who you really are and finding your tribe makes a huge difference in life. So tomorrow's going to be amazing. I know some of the authors are meeting up as well tonight, and it's going to be great to actually meet everybody and see how tall everybody is, because we only know each other via Zoom.
And that we have legs.
I saw a comment on that yesterday saying it's going to be weird to see everybody with legs, isn't it? Because we're all... So how does it feel then? Tomorrow, Ina, you're going to be a published author. Are you going to go on to write more, do you think?
Oh, yes, absolutely. 100%. I mean, I've always wanted to write a book, and there's actually quite a short little story here. A few years ago, we were playing a game, like a board game with my friends, and one of the questions was, who in the room will write a book and not tell anyone about that they're writing a book? And everybody that was part of the game said my name, and I was like, And it stuck with me, and I always remember that. You know, that you have these little tidbits throughout your life that kind of stick with you and that you remember, and that was just one of those things. And yeah, I do actually have, you know, obviously this is the one chapter in your book, but it's also going to be part of my book. And I also have a chapter written for a more fiction book. So yes, I have these two things, plus all the other 17 million things that I still need to do, but I will get it done.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was hoping with this book, because the statistics are floating around the internet all the time, but 81% of people in the population want to write a book, and only 3% ever do. And of that 3%, only 0.1% actually physically do publish it. They 3% write it, but so few actually publish it. So there's so much out there. There's so many stories out there. There are so this was bringing some of those stories in and trying to encourage women to share their stories, because people are interested. People want to know about your life because it helps them make sense of theirs. For me, this is a big movement. We're starting a movement now and building a community of women, who are going to be able to share their voices, and that's amazing. So what about you, Andrea? Going to continue writing?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'd already started to write my book, and I remember back to when I might get a bit emotional now, actually, but when I was at middle school, so I was probably about 10 or 11, I remember we did this project, and it was a Flower Fairies book. I don't know if I came up with the idea or if we all had to do the same thing. And obviously my passion was creativity, so I loved drawing the illustrations, but I've always held on to that and thought, yeah, I'm definitely going to write a book. And the book that I'm going to write is going to have illustrations in it as well. And yeah, I've written poems I've written quite a few poems over the last 6 years while I've been coping with major changes in my domestic life. And I'm thinking, right, I'm going to share those as well, but the fear is always, who wants to read what I've got to say, or who wants to hear what I've got to say? But people do.
How many billion people on the planet? Yeah. 6 billion people on the planet. Somebody wants to hear that story.
Yeah. And I mean, we've spoken about the fact that we're Gen Xers, Mandy, and it doesn't come naturally to us to shout about our achievements or, talk about ourselves, because we were taught to be seen and not heard and not to show off. And so, it's a major turnaround for many of us, in that we're having to do self-promotion and actually admit that we're good at something, at things, that we are good artists, or whatever the nature of our business
is. And that's, as women, as Gen Xers, as women in general, we have been told not to show off, to be nice girls, to be seen and not heard. And that's what's held back so much of the power that we've got as women. That's why I work with women and not men. That's why I help creative women and not every woman, because the people in business that are neurotypical don't need me. The people that are neurodivergent and creative do. So, and this book is that. We're going to amplify those voices. We're going to get them out there. And yes, we are spamming social media until we hit that #1 slot tomorrow night. That's the goal, by tomorrow night. So get ready to spend your 99p. It's confirmed the Kindle version will be 99p. There is no reason for you not to buy this book and help us get that #1 slot. 99p. It's less than a coffee.
And it's 500. It's almost 500 pages. So that is definitely value for money, and it's great information. I'm so excited about reading it, because it's not just the stories, it's all the tips and tricks that have been included, and the strategies for coping with neurodivergence and our the way our brains and minds work.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And this is a self-help book with real stories that really underpin why we need to be helping ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's people watching and they're thinking this book's for me, just buy it. But if there's women out there that are still struggling to share some of these feelings, honestly, how much is this book going to help them, Ina?
Huge amount. It's a book about self-discovery as well, because a lot of us women, especially our generation, we were diagnosed later in life because as a kid or in school, the ADHD kid was the little boy in the corner that was hyperactive. That was the extent it was back in the 80s when I went to school, so it wasn't recognized, and you kind of go through life putting tools in place to get through. It's like, oh, I'm just a bit weird, I'm just a bit different, oh well, and then finding your tribe, as Andrea was saying, and like, oh my God, everything makes sense all of a sudden. It's amazing. And seeing the journey that all of these women have come through and what they had to get through to be where they are now, it's oh my God, it's inspiring. It's just, I cannot wait for this book to be out there in the world.
I know, and it is. Like Andrea said, it's a thick old book. You're getting a lot for your money. The paperback and the hardback will go pre-order on the 12th, which is Saturday, and that means that there'll be 5 days between you pre-ordering and getting the actual physical book in your hand. But the Kindle you can download and read tomorrow. So watch for those links going out tomorrow. Anything less you want to say, Andrea, before we say goodbye to all the women out there?
I just think, leading on from what Ina was saying there, is that quite a few of the authors in the book are of a certain age, and obviously I work with menopausal women, and we go through a huge amount of change in our lives as we get older, in terms of, our children leaving home, our parents getting more elderly and needing help from us, our careers potentially getting more stressful, and, potentially some strains in any relationships that we have. And I just think that this book is a roadmap for women to see, well, actually, there is hope, and you can take control of the situation and potentially do something different, and just learn from the women that have been through those challenges already. So yeah, I just would encourage anybody to dip into it. You don't even have to be creative or neurodivergent. You're going to learn lots from it. And as a mum of neurodivergent children, buy it, because it will really, really help you understand potentially yourself, but also your children.
Well, yes, and one of the chapters is by one of my children, Becca, who is 24, and actually seeing her story from her perspective and fitting it into that book. So it will touch all ages, this book. It's a beacon of hope. It touches on some really tough subjects. So things like domestic abuse, racism, coming to this country from another country, as well as neurodivergence and mental health issues, and, diagnoses of cancer and epilepsy and addictions. There are some big, women that go through all of these things. And to see that mix, when you see that mix of really, difficult to talk about subjects in one book, it's like, oh my goodness, once we hit the press, who is going to want to be interviewed? Because there's so many topics in there that we are openly talking about. It's time to be on Loose Women Lane talking about this.
Yeah, and do you know what? I just had this flash in my head there of the film Calendar Girls. Yes. And I thought, we are, I don't really want buns in front of my boobs when I get my photograph taken, but because they'd need to be mighty big buns. But yeah, we are we are the neurodivergent calendar girls for sure. You know, because it would be a really interesting movie for sure.
Writing that down now. Yes.
Oh, Andrea, what have you done?
Never say never. Yes, never say never. Awesome. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. I know we're all busy at the minute and we're all heading down to Bolton today. So, woohoo. Hope to see you all in real life very soon, and looking forward to the launch tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. There will be live streaming through my socials all day, and I'm sure everybody else is as well. So thank you very much for listening to us and putting up with all of the spamming of all the social medias this week. Buy the book tomorrow on Kindle. Whether you have Kindle or not, download the app onto your phone. You can read it on your phone. Get the app. Spend 90. The app is free. Spend 99p. The link for the wait list is in the description of this live. And if you're on the wait list, you're going to get the link before anybody else. So thank you, ladies. Exciting times. And I'll see you later.
See you tonight.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.